Welcome to Lesson 04, the one where your single Apache server starts hosting real separate websites. One process, one IP, many domains. The trick is the host header. Every request says who it's for, and Apache picks the matching VirtualHost block. Today we cover 4 pieces: name versus IP-based hosting, the matching algorithm, the site's available workflow, and the patterns you'll reach for the rest of your career. Here's the concrete target. By the end of this lesson, shop.com and blog.com both live on the same VM, same IP, same port, each serving from its own document root. The 4 pieces get you there. First, name-based versus IP-based. Modern Apache reads the host header and matches a VirtualHost block, so one IP serves many sites. Second, ServerName as the canonical host name, with ServerAlias catching the variants like www and store. Third, the site's available workflow. Write the conf, a2 nsite, config test, reload. And fourth, the 3 patterns you'll reuse forever. A default vhost, a www to root redirect, and port-based splits for staging. Before we touch a config file, you need the matching algorithm in your head. When a request hits Apache, it walks 5 steps in order. First, the connection lands on port 80 or 443. Second, Apache narrows to vhosts, listening on that port. Third, it looks for an exact server name match against the host header. Fourth, if nothing hits, it scans ServerAlias entries. And fifth, if still nothing matches, the first vhost loaded wins by default, which is why 0wow0default.conf exists. Every wrong site showing bug you'll ever chase lives at one of these 5 points. With the matching algorithm in your head, the workflow becomes mechanical. 3 steps. Create the document roots, write each vhost in its own file under sites available, then enable with a2 nsite and reload. Notice the discipline. One site, one file. Shop gets shop.conf, blog gets blog.conf. The confidest before reload catches typos before they take Apache down, and the curl with an explicit host header proves the right vhost answered. Adding your 20th site uses these exact same commands. Real sites rarely answer to just one name. Shop.com, www.shop.com, maybe a mobile subdomain, same content, different host names. The pattern is one vhost with ServerName for the canonical and ServerAlias for everything else. Pattern 1 covers 90% of cases. Bare domain plus www. Pattern 2 stacks multiple aliases on a single line. Pattern 3 uses a wildcard for catch-all subdomains. Powerful, but it'll happily match typos too, so reach for it deliberately. Beyond aliases, 3 structural patterns cover most real-world vhost files. First, the default catch-all. Name it 000 default so it loads first, give it ServerName _default _, and it absorbs direct IP hits and bogus host headers. Second, the www to root redirect. Pick one canonical host name, then make the other a tiny vhost that does nothing but redirect permanent. Third, port-based vhosts. Same host name, different ports, perfect for running staging alongside prod on one VM. Memorize these shapes. You'll type them for the rest of your career. Time to prove the algorithm works. Start with Apache 2CTL-S. It confirms shop.com loaded first as the default, with blog.com sitting alongside it on port 80. Now 3 curls, same server, different host headers. Host shop.com lands on shop. Host blog.com lands on blog. Host random.com matches nothing, falls through, and Apache hands it to the first loaded vhost, shop. That's exactly why a 000 default always earns its keep. Now step back and ask why we even do it this way. You could run 50 separate Apache processes on 50 IPs, and in 1996, people did. 3 reasons killed that pattern. Memory. One process serving 50 vhosts is roughly 50 millibyte total versus 2.5 GB for 50 processes, a 50x saving you pay for in cloud bills. Modules and certs. load mod SSL once, drop in one wildcard cert, done. And operations, one sites enabled directory, one Git repo, one audit. That's why VirtualHost won. With the why settled, here's the what. 7 commands that cover the entire vhost lifecycle. 2 for auditing. List sites available to see everything defined, sites enabled to see what's actually live. 2 for toggling. A2N site and A2D site manage the symlink for you on Debian. Then the workflow you'll burn into muscle memory. Write the file, enable it, run confitus to catch syntax errors, reload, and verify with Apache 2CTLS. And when DNS isn't ready yet, curl with a host header proves the match. Print this page. Time to put it to work. 3 drills, building on each other. First, ship 2 vhosts side by side, shop and blog, each with its own server name and document root, both verified with a host header curl. Second, add a permanent redirect from www.shop.com to the bare domain and learn why ServerAlias placement matters. Third, hunt down the default catch-all. Figure out which vhost Apache falls back to for unknown hosts, and why you should always own that slot explicitly. Before you go build, learn from the configs that have already broken. 5 mistakes. Every team hits them. Forgetting a 2N site. The file exists. Apache never sees it. 2 vhosts sharing a server name. Apache picks one alphabetically and silently drops the other. Server name outside the VirtualHost block. It becomes the server's own host name, not a match rule. Redirect without a trailing slash, instant loop, and pasting vhosts into apache2.conf. It works, but it breaks the pattern your teammates rely on. Recognize these early and Apache 2CTLS becomes your best friend. That's lesson 04. You've got the matching algorithm, server name, and alias, the A2N site workflow, and the 3 patterns you'll see in the wild. 2 vhosts, 1 Apache, done. Next up, paths. Lesson 05 takes you into directory, files, and location, file system versus URL, per file rules, and what happens when they collide. See you there.